Welcome to episode 1. We just started doing this. Hope you guys like it. If we get a lot of reviews on this video, or a lot of likes on this video, we'll do a lot more of these for you guys. So anyways, we today have a really cool project you guys are gonna get to see. We've got a Coleman air conditioner, 15,000 BTU air conditioner, manual sealing assembly installed in a Jayco J-Flight RV. We are going to put in this Dometic 15,000 BTU AC. These are the parts you're going to need for the basic install. Obviously, you're going to have your controller and your thermostat set. If you want to zoom in and get the part numbers. And then this is going to be your return air kit. You also have your 15,000 BTU AC unit. And then you're going to need you some thermostat wire, 18 gauge or something similar. And try to go with as many strands as possible. I like to go 7 because then it gives you the ability to go anything. 7 gives you the ability to put any system in there. And then the second part is a piece of fish tape. Fish tape's important to be able to snake these wires through the wall and not have to do a lot of destruction and whatnot to the RV. Let's go take a look at what we currently have and what we have to get to. All right, come on. We've got the manual sealing assembly. This unit is a Coleman Mach. This client has requested to go to a Dometic and they want a wall mounted thermostat. The current thermostat sits over here, which is a good 10 feet away from the existing sealing assembly. We have no wiring that goes up this wall or over to there, so meaning I'm gonna have to take this wall apart, snake myself up into the vent, and get myself thermostat wire all the way over there. So that's what we're gonna do at this point. So let's get busy. We're gonna need a square drive, Evan. Let's go. I'm experienced, so I do a lot of things, but for you guys at home doing this thing's live right now. It's got power. You might want to shut your breaker off. There's breakers over here. I'm gonna go ahead and kill the breaker. Maybe. See if we can get it open. So in this case, we have an unmarked, no, it shows me marked there. Reefer GFCI, first 20 amp I come across. Now, I'm just gonna shut all, but yeah, I'm shutting them all off. We're going to be safe here. If they aren't marked, that's typically what I do. For your safety, for my safety, just go ahead. Alright, cool. So at this point, we are disconnected on the old air conditioner. I could just go up there on the thing and just, obviously, just push the air conditioner out. That's where we're at this moment. What I want to do, though, before I go any further, it's about 2 things. A, we have to get power up to here. Because obviously I have no DC power. I've only got AC power for my air conditioner. Where am I going to get that? I'm going to take it from what is giving me power all the time. Teach you a little bit about this thermostat. If you don't know, your furnace literally has 2 wires that come off of it. One wire is always hot, one wire is not, but it is just creating a loop. If your thermostat were to come on and you want to turn this thermostat on, you're going to notice my wires. Let's see if I can find it on the back side. Actually, I'll just get you get something real quick. You can obviously get parts of this out. Alright, so your furnace has 2 wires that come off of it. One is hot, one is not. And if I were to touch these 2 wires together, I'm going to get a furnace on. And that's all this thermostat is doing, is making this wire touch this wire. So since one of these wires is hot, I'm going to use this power to power my air conditioner's control system. And then from there, we'll come back down and let the air conditioner feed us a power back to this to tell this furnace to turn on. So we'll deal with that with the wiring. Pay attention later in the video because I'll be talking about how to do that. So, but for now, this is what we got to get is wire from here up to that air conditioner. So, how am I going to do it? I'm looking at two things here. One is we've got ducting in our ceiling. I've got a duct that runs lateral that way, and I also have a duct on the left side that runs lateral going forward. So I am going to take the ducting, not this one that you're looking at now, but the other one, which comes back to the back of the RV. So I'll stand there and watch me. No, like, so yeah, so they're standing back there with it. The duct is running here. I'm going to go through the ceiling with a wire and fish tape myself and bring my thermostat into this ductwork is what I've got to get into. So what does that mean? I got to take this wall apart. So that's next. We've accessed the inside of our wall. I know that I'll be able to drill a hole about right here up into this ceiling, and then I'm going to be in my ductwork without a doubt. What I will do to make life easy for myself is I'm going to remove this register back here. Because by removing this register back here, I'll be able to get my fish tape where I need it and actually feel it. I'm going to pull my wire into here, come down, and then I'm just going to pull my wire from here down to this spot here on the thermostat. And then I'm going to take my fish tape back out. I'm going to go to the ducting over there. And I'm going to run that fish tape all the way to here, grab the other end of my wire, and pull it back down there. Does that make sense? Because why would I want to bring it from all the way down here to try to feed it in here? This is so much closer. Right. Feel good about that. Let me get my fishy tape. Fish tape you can buy at any hardware store in your electrical section. Alright, hold that right there. I know it's somewhere in there at this point. I think I'll find it.
You think it's in the bottom side?
Oh, hold on. Just touched it.
You did?
Hold on, hold on. That's it, that's it. Hold up. Stop pushing it. Don't push it. Hold it.
Hold it.
I always go at least 18 inches past my point of where I'm going to be at. Now I'm going to measure over that way, make up some for that curve, hold that right there, right back there. All right, now that you got that, you can go ahead and attach it to your fish tape. So that means you just need to pull some of this off. You don't need really two of them to pull the whole thing through. So I just find any two, put push the others back. You can cut them or you can do whatever. In this case, we're not going to be dealing with a lot of obstruction, so I'm not too concerned about we might deal with some obstruction now that I think about it. We're going to get a little more off of that, and I'll show you how to prevent it from doing that, or from pulling out on you while you're up in there. But with electrical tape, you just basically create yourself a loop, and then just electrical tape the shit out of it, and then that way when you pull through, you don't have anything fighting you. So I'm gonna get myself back into the hole. I'm gonna hold that back right there, Saul.
Gotcha.
Thank you. You can pull that while I got it. Or get Davin to pull it while I got it.
Davin, hold this. No. You ready?
Well, I gotta see what's making it stick. There you go.
There you go. Yeah. You gotta still feed it though.
Huh?
Still feed it.
Yeah. That's fine.
Yeah, all this.
Go ahead.
It's point of view down. So. All good right there. Yeah.
Bam, yep. Alright, cool. Alright. So now we got our end down here. So this is going to be all free, and I'll be able to put this wall back together at this point. But we're going to do that. That's the very last thing I do. Alright, now we're going to take this same fishing line, and we're going to come to this end. Same thing. I'm just going to start sending it down the tube. Take another little piece of my heart now, baby. Alright, cool. You know you got it. It makes you feel good.
Shoot, that one you probably just feed that through. Reach in and grab it.
Yep. And that's what I was gonna say. That's the next thing. And sometimes you get lucky and you can just feed the rest of it. Let's see if we get that lucky.
Oh, there it is. Came right out there, didn't it?
Alright, so now, what does this mean for us? It means we at least have a place now to start installing this ceiling assembly, or the controls at least, or we can go back here and install our thermostat. At this point, it's just which end do you want to start on? For me, I'm going to start at my thermostat. I'm going to get it all hooked up. Go grab my thermostat and controller, please. It's in the little box. Now, again, we were talking about how your furnace operates. If I take these two wires and touch them together, your furnace will turn on. Let's see, listen. There it went.
It is on.
Yep. So, but we don't want it on. But what that means is I've got a good 12-volt power source sitting right here. And it's just it's all control voltage, so it's not like it's pulling it's not like a light bulb or load. It's just control voltage, which is very low wattage systems. So this isn't going to blow up your furnace. And quite honestly, a lot of RVs are wired where your furnace is what provides power up to the top. Thermostat requires 3 wires. The new system is a 3-wire thermostat, so you've got a ground. You've got a positive off your battery, and in the center you've got a comms. So this thermostat only needs 3 wires. I like to pick red as my hot, green as my white as my ground. Sorry, I don't know why I was saying green. White as my positive or my negative, and then orange as my comms. And that way upstairs I know exactly what I'm doing. And then what I will do, hold on, hold on, let me kind of refresh that. In a typical installation, I only need 3 of these wires for the thermostat. And I would typically choose these 3 colors as a hot, a negative, and my comms wire. But because we are taking power from the furnace, I am going to be turning this red from here all the way up to my control board as my power. This is also going to become my negative from here all the way up to my control board. So these 2 are now going to be attached here and then up there to my negative. So these are out of the picture. What that means, what that means is that I'm going to have to I have to take my power up there and bring it back. So I'm going to be coming back with different colors than I typically would. So this is not customary because this is a pretty special install, but that's typically what happens. All right, so anyways, let's get to that. I need oranges. Orange. When I say I need oranges, it's orange colored wire nuts. Okay. With wire nuts, stranded always leads solids when you're putting them on. And that'll ensure that you get a good tight connection every single time. I go just until they start to twist up around each other at the base. And
what do you mean when you say leads?
When I say leads, I talk about which one goes into the wire nut first. And it should be just slightly above the so if I took these 2 and I put them together, if I were like this, it'd be incorrect. See how I'm lower with my stranded than I am my solid? But if I'm like this and I put my wire nut, I'm correct. So it's just it's a matter of millimeters, which can have a huge impact on how well this thing grabs. So, okay. Now, this obviously is my furnace return wire. My furnace is looking for 12 volts to come back on this to tell it, hey, turn on. So what I have to do is I've got to designate to it my new furnace turn on wire, and I'm going to go yellow. Yellow is going to be my 12 volts back to this thing to tell the furnace to turn on. So let's figure out what I did with my electricals. Need another orange. So the same thing now is really going on. If I go up there, I'm still gonna have. Now if I go to the other end of my thermostat wire I've installed, now I'm gonna have power on the red up there and nothing on the white, which is how it is over here. Same thing, I'm just moving it over there now, which gives me the ability to now patch my power in over there. So furnace is hooked up, power's coming in, I'm good here. I've got my 3 thermostat wires, looks like it's gonna give me, I'm gonna use this, and this. Meaning these 2 wires are going to be a moot, and so I just kind of wrap them up around the end of the cable and make them go away. Okay, so we're gonna get these 3 installed into our system now. And I know you're like, well, where's the power coming from? Like, how's it getting there? And well, it's all up there now. That's what we did. We put my power there so I can make that happen. Because this is typically where your power is in your sealing assembly. It's not right here. I just had to get my power over there, which is why I did it the way I did it here. All right, so I hope that makes sense.
So this will actually put the thermostat, the heater, and the air conditioner on the same circuit, or on the same thermostat.
Yes.
Instead of having a individual furnace thermostat and then having an air conditioner on the roof.
That's right. Now you'll notice that I'm doing this first because you notice my tight connections that I don't want to short anything out. So I'm making sure that I'm doing this. Getting my needle nose. They're right there. I make sure that I'm doing this with power off, because you don't get power to this thermostat until you plug that dongle into that control board that you're going to install up there. So that's the last step I do, is plug that dongle in when I'm ready to start everything up. That ensures I don't short anything out or burn anything up, because that would just suck, do all that work. So I'm going to take this, and I always do this to myself. I'm so used to clipping long with the wire nuts, but these have to be a little bit shorter. You don't have the same amount of space you're working with, so it's a tight fit. But we're gonna get these in here. There's one. That is my ground on the left. You notice I'm turning my white, and you're like, well, where are you gonna get your ground? The whole RV's chassis is ground. The whole thing, right? And so I just need to pull a ground, and I've got a ground sitting up there already on my 120 volt circuit, which is literally just a ground. And so we're going to just borrow that ground up there, and that's how our white's going to get ground back down to here. Okay, and I'm going to use my blue as my positive in this case for the thermostat's positive. Now, typically, like I said, in your conventional installation, it's going to be red, because you will have already set yourself up in the ceiling assembly to be that color, because your power's going dead. Now that I've got these wires in here, I just kind of pull them. You don't have to do it really hard, but you just need to get them to where this button can clear, because you'll see on the cap when it comes on that button is going to sit just the other side of that. You see how that button is there? It has to clear that. You just gotta make sure your wires are clear of that, so you can put that on.
Let me get a shot of those wires real quick.
Okay. Back over here now. Let's go get busy time. So, keeping yourself, now that you have a hot wire in this, because you took it from over there, let's go find that hot wire. This is my favorite part. Not my favorite part, it's just one of the fun parts. So I just strip all these back. Now if I go and take this here, bust out ye old DC voltage meter. That's an AC voltage, DC being that set up there. I'm just gonna hang it here so I have something to see. Now remember, ground is negative. And what do I have? Bam, 13.68, this baby's ready to rock! So let's go. It's pretty straightforward. You're gonna have your input for your 120 volt here. It's going to be a metal Romex or Halex connector. All right, you're gonna have your ground, your neutral, and your positive. Now, remember we were talking about that I need to pull a ground off of this. So how am I going to do that? Well, it's a little trickier than usual, but I'm going to just take a ground from in here. I'm going to tie it up with these two. I'm going to come back out, and then I'm going to connect into my white wire. So let me go and grab a piece of wire for my ground real quick. Now I've got my power back on, remember, on this, so I'm gonna have to shut my power off real quick so I can get these disconnected and through the hole. Inspect my wire, considering. Okay. And because we got our special up in here, we're going to get it routed. We need that ground, remember? That's where our negative comes from for the rest of it to operate. Cool. All right, now take these guys, split that up, start with my ground. I usually like to connect my ground first. Go ahead and have your protection in place. And then, because we've got 2 strandeds in this case, we can go ahead and tie our strandeds together first. That's customary. So you want to actually like twist them, tie them together a little bit. And you want to cut them to the same length. And then you want to go back to just like I did over there where, you know, stranded leads, solids. We're going to do the same thing. Alright. Shove that down into the hole. Okay. And didn't quite sit right. There it goes. All right, so remember we talked about this being my new negative for my thermostat, and because the thermostat's negative, what did we determine? We made it white. Okay, so that's right. Yeah, white. What was that thing? I'm like, what the fuck did I do with it? Okay, cool. So what we're gonna do here is we need to take this white right here off of this because it's my negative. We've got 3 connections to make here. Okay. Ground has to go 3 places. Ground or negative has to go really 2 places. Has to go to this control box here. Also has to go over there. So in order to do that, I have to find, you'll see here, this is negative 12 volts from the supply. So from the supply, which is here in this case, to thermostat, all right? From supply and to T-stat, right? So, we take this, tie it in here, okay? And then you also take this and you give your thermostat negative right there. Okay?
Short, medium, or long?
Short. Okay? Now, we want to take comms wire, which we know is orange. That's what we chose. We'll get comms over to there. Okay. Next is power. Now, power has to go a couple of places, okay? There's 2 different sources of power. There's a separate power, because you can notice here I got 12 volts from supply, which meaning, in this case, is our red, because we brought it from our supply, which is our furnace. And then we also have another 12 volts that goes back to our thermostat. Now, in this case, we decided to use the color blue, so our blue wire goes back to the thermostat for power. So we need to get that routed in. And then we have one more source of power. So that's from supply. We want to get the one that says to thermostat. That's how 12 volts makes it back to our thermostat through the controller. The controller sends its own voltage over there. Okay. Now, I have two ways, and again, typically your furnace is not your source of power. Typically your furnace has two wires just like it does over there sitting right here. On this control board, you would put them here and here. So that all this control board is doing is closing the contactor and making that loop, the same thing as making the two ends touch together like you saw me do over there. So I still have to put 12 volts into this. I cannot just put it in there without 12 volts. So we know that yellow is what I chose to be my furnace output, right? Meaning I have to give, when I give this 12 volts, I'm going to take this 12 volts both to the control board, but also to my input for my thermostat. What do you do in the case of two solids? Two solids, you physically take them, twist them together with a pair of pliers, like yay. Cut them same length. And the same thing applies when it comes to your stranded versus your solid on how it lands. Just like that. Okay. Now, over there, we had green and brown. Turned out being arnadas. They did nothing in this case. So we're going to send them off to where they always go, and it just gets wrapped around this whole thing. We're going to bring this one back over here. We're going to put a female end on it. Davin, go grab my electrical connectors, please, sir. So, this is my 12 volt that was going back to like where we started. This was the 12 volt that used to sit over there on that wall. We're going to give it now back into the control board. It's already sitting in the control board will be powered up as soon as we plug it in. You'll notice this is the dongle I talk about. I don't plug this in till the very last. Okay, so I got that one. Now the return, we had decided we were going to make the yellow. So what I have to do, I go take yellow. Same thing. The whole kit. At this point, we are literally just left with putting our air conditioner and ceiling assembly up and buttoning that wall back up, and we're done here. So let's get this done. I'm excited. Are you? Let's go up top. Let's get that air conditioner down. Get the new one up. Shut it up. Okay, so here, what we're going to do is we're going to get this air conditioner up there. I just throw a hook right up underneath this metal here, and then I just use a hook off of a standard chain. I've got one person upstairs, hook goes in, and then he takes the tension, and then we pull it straight up. So I'll show you how that's done. Go ahead. Alright, so I took the air conditioner, got it up there. From here, I just kind of walk it back with my fingers. Get about where I think I'm going to need it. That looks about right. So right there. Alright. Alright, time for our ceiling assembly. We'll take our new ceiling assembly in all its glory. Okay. I take my torque setting to 7 on my drill. And I start with the front one first. And then double check. Good. Bam, bam. All right, cool. Now I take this bad boy. Freeze sensor. What do I do with the freeze? Freeze sensor.
Probably on the table.
Freeze sensor go.
Probably on the table.
Down.
Or it may not have been taken out of the box.
Where'd the freeze sensor go for this?
What?
It was a little white coil of wire. Where did it go? It was with the thermostat. Ah, there it is. Cool.
This is the
freeze sensor. It just plugs in like yay. You don't have to keep that on there. I go about center, leftish.
and this plugs into the coil.
It just pushes into the coil about an inch or so. You'll feel it. Okay, take this up here. Take all that up there. Take that there. All right, watch magic. My favorite part, plugging this dongle into the controller and let's see if the thermostat lights up. If all went well and I did my job right, that thermostat's gonna light up. Don't make a fool of me, YouTube. Bam.
Ooh, look at that.
All right, cool. All right, let's do this.
We're doing an instructional video.
No problem.
For replacing.
Yeah, I called him and asked him if I could have you out here.
Fine.
Yep.
I made sure everything was camera friendly.
Yeah. You guys did a great job.
Yeah. All right, cool. Let's get our divider in place now. So the divider, pretty standard. You're gonna have a piece of white. What you're trying to do really is get this up in there, and then there's gonna be a spot where it's pushing up against the top roof section, and then that is kind of where you want to lock this in at. Now this has a piece of tape. Well, they used to have a piece of tape. I guess they took the piece of tape out.
I think they attached it.
Oh no, it's the other side now. Okay, so I'm gonna just push that other side up and out the way real quick, like that. Take this, remove it. Oh, dirty dog. Like that. Take this, put it back up there. Again, trying to stay up and against, and then I'm forward and I'm in. Okay? And what that does is your duct divider. It's what keeps your your air separated up there.
And then you put the,
because without it,
you put this on the back side or what?
This goes on the front side here. Or you can go back side, don't really matter, but I put it on the front side.
Yeah.
But I'm gonna take a piece of my tape that I had earlier.
Right here?
The silver tape.
Silver tape.
Evan.
You get
He took
right
the
back
silver
there.
tape. No, he took it.
Oh.
He put it up.
Need aluminum tape, Davin.
Okay.
Interesting.
You arrived just in time for the first turn on. Well, it's not the first turn on. It got turned on at your neighbor's the first time. but you know what I mean.
Fine, man. It was just badass.
Tough little bastard to put in, ain't it?
Yeah, they could be quite fun. But you got to get them right, or They are just a pain in the ass. Okay. So it's just making sure that it seals as good to that back wall as you can get it the first time. Because once dust is in there, it's all over with. And just like that. All right. What happened to my power?
Huh?
What happened to my power?
Did it disconnect up here somehow?
I might have disconnected.
When you were putting
Oh, I did disconnect it.
I nothing did it.
You're gonna go inside?
So they're about to turn it off.
That's the mode, that's the fan.
Still smells like it's new.
Might it shut off?
Because it's gonna go. It's
Cold?
already.
Oh, it's
yeah.
going into cool?
It already thinks it's there.
What?
Yeah, turn it down some more. Turn it down to like 55.
What's the usual temperature that you recommend for us to leave it at?
Whatever you want.
Wherever I want?
Yeah, so this thing don't change its temperature. It's always just whatever it's sucking in, it's dropping that temperature 20 degrees or so. So if you have that set on 70 and it's 80 in here, this thing's gonna be kicking out about 60-degree air.
And then as it drops, it'll
dropping. So it don't really matter what you set that to. Just 70. If you want 70 in here, it'll get 70 and shut off. But the temperature out of here will be it's 20 degrees colder. That's what you're gonna get. That's how you do it. Alright, let me see here.
Our rapid RV park from Carlsbad, New Mexico just installed a 15,000 BTU Dometic AC unit on my Jayco 2016. It's working perfectly fine. I upgraded from the 13.5 to 15,000. Highly recommended. Perfect job from Mr. Warren. He does a great job with installation. He works with us every time. Highly recommended.
That's awesome. That's awesome. I'm glad that.
Great job, guys.
And so you guys got your new air conditioner and it's ready to go. And
Yeah.
you guys are killing it. So what was the reason you upgraded the air conditioner?
The 13.5 had a really hard time tuning my RV, especially out here in New Mexico. So I decided to get a 13.5 where my AC unit wouldn't have too much struggle to cool down my RV.
Heck yeah, so you guys went from a Coleman Mach 13.5 to a Dometic 15,000 BTU. Nice. Heck yeah.
No cold from your AC. Call 833 Rapid RV. Your RV's broke, spouse is angry. Call 833 Rapid RV. If you've got problems with your RV, call 833 Rapid RV.
Righteous.